Hey everyone, this is Sarah from Notes from the Shelf. I just got home from work and I saw that the July books have dropped for Book of the Month, so I thought we would take a look. So it does look like there's 6 books for this month. The first one is Finding Grace by Loretta Rothschild, which is a debut and a contemporary fiction. The cover looks familiar, but I'm not really sure what it's about. So it says a gripping, wholly unique tale of unexpected love, shocking loss, and looming secrets that fight to stay buried. Family drama, salacious, nonlinear timeline, and graphic violence. I don't know that I'm hit or miss on the graphic violence and family drama. Sometimes I'm into it, sometimes I'm not. But let's see what the synopsis says. Honor seems to have everything. She adores her daughter Chloe and her husband Tom, even if he does work 100 hours a week. Okay. But her longing for another baby threatens to eclipse all of it until a shocking event changes their lives forever. Years later, Tom makes a decision that ripples through their family's lives in ways he could not have foreseen. As the consequences of that fateful choice unfold, two women's paths become irrevocably intertwined. But when old love clashes with new, who will be left standing? And what happens when your secrets come back to haunt you? So he had an affair. It does have content warnings. It contains scenes depicting miscarriage, death of a child, and mentions of suicidal ideation. I don't know. I like the cover, kind of. It's creeping me out a little bit, actually, but I don't know if I will get that one, but let's see the rest. So second one, How Freaking Romantic by Emily Harding. It's a romance. I do like that cover, but let's see. I don't often pick romances. First comes love, then comes falling head over heels for the opposing counsel in your friend's divorce case. That sounds drama inducing. Says laugh out loud, academic, salacious, and enemies to lovers. I feel like I have not heard of a romance quite like that, but let's see what the synopsis says. Beatrice Nilsson is what some might call feisty, those who love her, and others combative, those who don't. But no matter what you call her, she's a good lawyer and an even better friend. Oh, so she's the lawyer for her friend's divorce case? So when the marriage of her two closest pals ends in divorce, Bea picks a side and storms the office of attorney Nathan Asher to tell him exactly what he can do with his alimony petition. Wow, unfortunately, what should end with a few choice words soon spirals into uncharted territory when Nate shows up at her NYU law office a few days later as a newly minted adjunct professor and her new colleague. Bea still hates Nathan, of course, but between weekly meetings and networking events, walks around Washington Square Park, and late night pizza, that hate begins to feel a lot like something else. And as uncomfortable truths emerge about the divorce that started it all, she might have to choose between her friend's happily ever after and her own for the very first time. I don't know. That seems kind of unique for a romance. But I am a little confused. He he joins as a professor, but he is the attorney for the friend's husband, I assume. I don't know. I don't know much about law like that, I guess, but sounds interesting, but I don't think I would buy it. Ooh, Among Friends by Hal Ebbett is a debut, a literary fiction. I've heard a lot about this one. So it says a subtle, tense, and illuminating novel about the fallout of a shocking act in a tight-knit group of family friends. It does say it's highbrow, which can be kind of annoying. It's emotional, multiple viewpoints, heavy read, and family drama. For the summer, I don't know. Heavy read, not sure I want that, but it's an autumn weekend at a comfortable New York country house where two deeply intertwined families have gathered to mark the host's 52nd birthday. Together, the group forms an enviable portrait of middle age. The wives and husbands have been friends for over 30 years, their teenage daughters have grown up together, and the drinks, dinners, rituals, and games that form their days all reflect the rich bonds between them. This weekend, however, something is different. An unforeseen curdling of envy and resentment will erupt into an unspeakable act, the ramifications of which are enormous. Oh wow. Accusations, denials, and shattered illusions follow, driving wedges between friends, spouses, children, and parents, and exposing the treacherous fault lines on which these families have dwelt. I don't know, that does sound like some good drama. It does contain scenes depicting sexual assault. I don't know, that sounds something like I would like to read. I'm not sure I would buy it. I feel like maybe wait for the library. Let's see, this one is You Belong Here. I thought Don't was part of the title, but I guess not. Because on the cover it says, well, Don't is kind of blends in, but You Belong Here, I guess is the title. It's by Megan Miranda, which is a repeat author, and this is an early release, and it's a thriller. I do like thrillers in the summer. I like thrillers all the time, I guess, but years after fleeing her alma mater in disgrace, a woman returns to campus in search of her vanished daughter. Slow build, creepy, academic, and non-linear timeline. I don't know if I have the patience right now for a slow build, but Becky Bowery never thought she'd return to Wyatt Valley, a picturesque college town in the Virginia mountains steeped in tradition. Her roots there were strong. Beckett's parents taught at the college, and she never even imagined studying anywhere else. Until a tragedy her senior year ended with 2 local men dead and her roommate on the run, never to be seen again. What? Wow. Her roommate killed these 2 men? That's crazy. For the last 2 decades, Beckett has done her best to keep her distance. Then her daughter Delilah secretly applies to Wyatt College and earns a full scholarship, and Beckett can only hope that her lingering fears are unfounded. But deep down, she knows that Wyatt Valley has a long memory, and that the past isn't the only dangerous thing in town. Ooh. Oh, is there a killer still there? These other books for her was The Only Survivors and Daughter of Mine from Book of the Month. I haven't read either of those, so I'm not really sure on her style. But does sound intriguing. I like the cover, too. These Summer Storms by Sarah MacLean, contemporary fiction. Think your family has drama? The storms may have you beat with their twisted inheritance games and summertime antics. It's a romance, multiple viewpoints, salacious, and family drama. Lots of family drama this summer. Or this for July. Alice Storm hasn't been welcome at her family's magnificent private island off the Rhode Island coast in 5 years. Not since she was cast out and built her life beyond the Storm name, influence, and untold billions. But the shocking death of her larger-than-life father changes everything. Alice plans to keep her head down, pay her final respects, such as they are, and leave the minute the funeral is over. Unfortunately, her father had other plans. The eccentric, manipulative patriarch left his family a final challenge, an inheritance game designed to upend their world. The rules are clear. Spend 1 week on the island, complete their assigned tasks, and receive the inheritance. But a whole week on Storm Island is no easy task for Alice. Every corner of the sprawling old house is bursting with chaos. Her older sister's secret love affair, her brother's unyielding arrogance, her younger sister's constant analysis of the vibes. Oh my gosh, I love that. The vibes are off. Her mother's cold judgment, and all under the stern, watchful gaze of Jack Dean, her father's intriguing and too handsome second in command. It will be a miracle if Alice manages to escape unscathed. Ooh, she's gonna get with Jack. That kind of sounds fun. No trigger warnings or content warnings. I love that her sister is constantly analyzing the vibes. That would be really funny. I don't know, I might get that one. I think that one seems the most lighthearted maybe, or summery. I've heard of this one too. Maggie, or A Man and a Woman Walk into a Bar by Katie E. It's literary fiction. It is a debut and early release. I've heard a lot about this one. In this tragicomic tour de force, a young mother rebuilds her sense of self after a divorce and cancer diagnosis. Female friendships, infidelity, mama drama, and under 200 pages. A man and a woman walk into a restaurant. The woman expects a lovely night filled with endless plates of samosas. Instead, she finds out her husband is having an affair with a woman named Maggie. A short while after, her chest starts to ache. She walks into an examination room where she finds out the pain in her breast isn't just heartbreak, it's cancer. Oh my god, she decides to call the tumor Maggie. That is insane to have that at the same time. Of course, it'd be at the same time. Unfolding in fragments over the course of the ensuing months, Maggie, or A Man and a Woman Walk into a Bar, follows the narrator as she embarks on a journey of grief, healing, and reclamation. She starts talking to Maggie, the tumor, getting acquainted with her body's new inhabitant. She overgenerously creates a guide to my husband, a user's manual for Maggie, the other woman, hoping to ease the process of discovering her ex-husband's whims and quirks. She turns her children's bedtime stories into retellings of Chinese folklore passed down by her own mother in an attempt to make them fall in love with their shared culture and to maybe save herself in the process. I don't know, that sounds really interesting as well, but I think I would maybe read it from the library. I'm not sure I would want to buy it. I'm kind of between Among Friends and These Summer Storms, but let's check the add-ons as well. So for the add-ons, I think it's just 3 this time. So The Princess Kills Monsters by Rye Herman Fantasy. This delightfully queer and campy fairy tale romp is guaranteed to leave you believing in happily ever after. I love this cover. I would buy it just for the cover, I think. And it has a dragon on it. I love that. Let's see, 400 plus pages, that's pretty long. LGBTQ plus themes, love that. Magical, and laugh out loud. Someone wants to murder Princess Melilot. That's gonna be hard to say in my mind while I'm reading. This is sadly normal. Melilo or Melilot? Maybe Melilo is sick of being ordered to go on dangerous quests by her domineering stepmother, especially since she always winds up needing to be rescued by her more magically talented stepsisters. And now she's been commanded to marry a king she's never met. Typical. When hideous spider wolves attack her on the journey to meet her husband-to-be, she is once again rescued, but this time by 12 eerily similar-looking masked huntsmen. Ooh. Are they clones? What do you mean eerily similar looking? Soon she has to contend with near constant attempts on her life, a talking lion that sets bewildering gender tests, and a king who can't recognize his true love when she puts on a pair of trousers. You're not wearing a dress. Who are you? And all the while, she has to fight her growing attraction to not only one of the huntsmen, but also her fiance's extremely attractive sister. If Melilo can't unravel the mysteries and rescue herself from peril, kingdoms will fall. Worse, she could end up married to someone she doesn't love. I don't know, it does sound interesting. I like the cover a lot, but I don't know if I would buy it actually. So The View from Lake Como by Adriana Trigiani. I don't know, now I'm struggling after I tried to say Melilo. Contemporary fiction. How do you cure a broken heart? For this Jersey divorcee, a trip to her ancestors' Italian hometown might do the trick. I also like that cover a lot, actually. These are all like such good covers, mostly. Inspirational, movie-ish, love triangle, and international. Jess Capodimonte Barata is not living the life of her dreams, not even close. In blue-collar Lake Como, New Jersey, family comes first. Recently divorced from Bobby Belancia, the perfect husband, Jess moves into her parents' basement to hide and heal. Jess is the overlooked daughter who dutifully takes care of her parents, cooks Sunday dinner, and puts herself last. Oh. Despite her role as the family handmaiden, Jess is also a talented draftswoman in the marble business run by her dapper Uncle Louis, who believes she can do anything once she invests in a better wardrobe. When the Capodimonte and Barada families endure an unexpected loss, the shock unearths long-buried secrets that will force Jess to question her loyalty to those she trusted. Fueled by her lost dreams, Jess takes fate into her own hands and escapes to her ancestral home, Carrara, Italy. Okay. From the shadows of the majestic marble-capped mountains of Tuscany to the glittering streets of Milan and on the shores of enchanting Lake Como, the other one, Jess begins to carve a place in this new/old world. When she meets Angelo Straza, a passionate artist who works in gold, she discovers her own skills are priceless. But as Jess uncovers the truth about her family history, it will change the course of her life and those she loves the most forever. In love and work, in art and soul, Jess will need every tool she has mastered to reinvent her life. Fed by the author's cherished Italian roots comes a big-hearted, hilarious novel of the moment. The story of one woman's determination to live a creative life that matters, with enough room left over for love. With a one-way ticket to Italy, Jess is determined to write a new story on her own terms, this time in stone. I'm not sure if I'm that interested in that, but it does sound nice. Last new add-on option is The Compound. I've heard a lot about this as well, by Aisling Rawl. It's a debut and it's dystopian, and it'll be a later shipping if you add it to your box. Tune in to the hottest reality show of the summer, set in a near-future world both terrifying and eerily familiar. Slow build, unsettling. Excuse me. Dystopian and salacious. I don't know if I want unsettling and dystopian right now, but okay. Lily, a bored, beautiful 20-something, wakes up on a remote desert compound alongside 19 other contestants competing on a massively popular reality show. To win, she must outlast her housemates to stay in the compound the longest, while competing in challenges for luxury rewards like champagne and lipstick, plus communal necessities to outfit their new home, like food, appliances, and a front door. Okay, no front door till you compete? Cameras are catching all her angles, good and bad, but Lily has no desire to leave. Why would she when the world outside is falling apart? As the competition intensifies, intimacy between the players deepens, and it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish between desire and desperation. When the unseen producers raise the stakes, forcing contestants into upsetting, even dangerous situations, the line between playing the game and surviving it begins to blur. If Lily makes it to the end, she'll receive prizes beyond her wildest dreams. But what will she have to do to win? Do people die? There's no content warnings? Okay. I don't know. Is it just like less dangerous Squid Games? I don't know. Honestly, I'd rather watch something like this, but I could see reading it, but I'm not going to add it to my box. I don't know. I think this month I am not sure I'll get anything, which sometimes happens, and that would be fine with me if I don't end up getting anything. I am thinking maybe Among Friends or These Summer Storms, but at the same time, I could probably wait and just read them at the library. I don't know. That would help with my TBR because I made a challenge for the summer to read 10 books off of my physical TBR and to not add any more except maybe book of the month. But if I skip a month, then I added even less, so that might be nice. And if you're interested in that challenge, I'll post it in the description. But most of my stuff is on the blog Notes from the Shelf if you want to check it out. But let me know what you're picking for book of the month, if you're picking anything for July, and I'll see you next month.